Good old coffee. All right, guys, welcome back. Survival Living here. So, was this ammonium nitrate stolen? That's a very good question. Now, guys, a couple weeks ago, I did a video on this coming from the aspect of a former train rider. All right, I used to ride freight trains for a year and a half. I also worked on rail cars, do the maintenance, repairs, things of that nature on rail cars. And I've seen plenty of things leak all the time. All right, especially those grinder systems, either from valves or those dump doors in the bottom. And that's what I was looking at it logically from my experience, not just theorizing. But I didn't want to just leave it there. I want to continue to look into this because there's a lot of shady shit going on with this. So now, when I discussed everything in that video, should be a pop-up somewhere over here. I looked at it and I'm still saying prepare for a event. The missing 30 tons of this stuff, and I'm just saying something's going to happen. Just prepare for it. Maybe it won't. Maybe it did leak out everywhere. Just prepare for an event. All right. I think something staged. In that video, I said, yeah, I think it all got shook out. But they'll always point to, hey, yeah, remember all that stuff disappeared? Because the main thing is that it's either stolen or it's spread all over the place. Now, when I first did the report, when I first looked into this, there was not much information. Okay? From my new information I got, this rail car that was carrying the ammonium nitrate sat on a rail siding. That is a switch. On freight trains, you have a set of rails that split off the main, and usually they do that if they got to break off a car, drop off a car somewhere. It sat for 2 weeks. Now, with that being said, most rail lines has a drivable road beside it. Most, not all. Just depends on, it's usually close to a city and stuff, close to a town, and that way they could do crew changes and stuff like that for the conductors on the locomotives. It is possible. It is possible. That was some privy information I did not have when we first came out with that other video. It sat for 2 weeks, loaded. All right, now, yeah, I love my coffee, by the way. Now, when it comes to it shaken out, that is still a very plausible explanation. Like I said, I've seen these things leak out everywhere. I actually had a lot of conductors and also railroad workers comment on that video. They're seeing it. We're talking from experience. We have seen these things. We have had to repair these things. Some of the comments I read was, well, we'll know when they find a lot of green vegetation growing because it's fertilizer. That's not how it works. One, that much fertilizer will burn any type of plant. It won't be lushly green. Also, you're talking about high plains desert from Wyoming to the destination it was headed to. It's ballowstones, sand, dirt. I mean, there's not much vegetation. 2 comments where you'll be able to find the granules beside the tracks. These are granules size of BBs. When a train's moving 60 miles an hour, here's an idea. Let's just say that you're riding in a car going 60 miles an hour. Take a handful of BBs and you drop them outside the window. You think they're going to be sitting right beside the road? No, they disperse and bounce everywhere because they're also traveling at 60 miles an hour. Simple physics. That's why if a plane's crashing before it hits the ground, if you jump up, it's not going to save your life. You're going to hit the ground at that speed. Yeah. Believe it or not, people actually believe that you can do that. But I was trying to look at it as logically as possible. Now, what I did is I contacted Union Pacific. I contacted that particular yard. I was trying to find that information. Basically, though, I shut down. I'm not an investigator. I'm not in the police department. And they do their own private investigation on freight. They have insurance claims and things of that nature. So it's an ongoing investigation. They did not even give me a statement. They would not talk to me, basically. What's interesting is there is no news coverage about this. None. I think the newest anything was 2 weeks old. And that's the last bit of news I've been able to find on this missing ammonium nitrate. And that's just that it leaked out. That's the narrative that's being pushed. Now, the freight train itself, the car, the rail car, was locked. All right, locked means they use a metal tab on all the entry exit points on this thing. It gets sealed. That's what you do when it is full. Had people say, well, maybe it was empty when it left. There's a lot of hands that do this. So this is where it gets deep. You can see if a rail car is empty or full. As a former train rider, when I'm walking up on a train track, I can tell by the ride height. I can look at the coil springs in those trusses, on those rail truss. I can look directly at it and I can tell you if it's got freight or if it's an empty box, because they compress or they expand. Very easy. But box cars are easy because when you're jumping on box cars, you got a certain height you got to jump up on. They're not low to the ground. All right, they're up there high. So with that being said, my first initial thoughts was, yeah, everything's legit. It got shipped out. A lot of people were commenting, are we sure that it was even on it? All right, let's talk about that one right fast. With this, from my experience dealing with freight, dealing with trains, dealing with these rail cars, yeah, it's not accidentally getting shipped empty. All right, there's a whole bunch of procedures, a lot of hazmat stuff going on. These things just don't just willy-nilly pick up. It's a whole chain of infrastructure set up to go pick up a rail car. It's just not some dude says, yeah, I'm gonna go pick this thing up today. No, it's not like that. But then it rolls into a conspiracy. I have no problem with conspiracy because usually when things happen, yeah. We'll take a look at this. Is it possible? It is possible. So I had people leave comments, well, we need to find out the railroad worker's name, the guy that manufactured it, the guy that packed it, the guy that this. One thing, I cannot do that. I have no means of doing that. When I contacted Union Pacific to find that information, I was quickly shut down. I can't even find the facility that manufactured it. They won't even tell me that. I've been looking around myself, a little internet sleuthing. I can't find jack. Is it possible that it was shipped empty? Anything's possible. Is it probable? No. But it's possible. And this is why I'm saying this has got me looking at this differently, is because I cannot find any news in the past 2 weeks, anything new, saying that they're continuing investigation, they found something, they haven't found something, nothing. They have just let it die. In my original video, I said, even if it got shook out, don't be surprised if we have a false event. Using ammonium nitrate, we'll have explosions in locations, and when it comes to where's this coming from, they're going to point, you remember that missing freight on a rail car, 30 tons. Something will happen, in my opinion. Now, what do you do? Preparedness? Well, we don't know where or if it will even happen. But let's just say it is. 30 tons is a lot. Odds are they'll split it up and do multiples if this is the case. All right, different type of explosions around different locations. Your preparedness and training should be dealing with the after effect of this. Do you know how to get out of a location? Do you have the appropriate equipment, gas masks, things like that in case there's a chemical fire, anything like that? Do you have these things on you? We carry kits in our vehicle. We carry kits in our home. When we go on vacation, we carry our kits all the time. This is something you can do, all right? Because we don't know what's going to happen with this. It is possible that it was never in there and shipped. But for that to happen, let me put it that way. For that to happen, this goes all the way up to the top. There are a lot of people that had to put their hands on this product, the shipping, the logging, everything. So, for them to ship an empty cart, this goes up big. All right, this is a rabbit hole from hell. And I can't get hold of any information to even begin the rabbit hole. It's one thing to theorize and say, well, this is never was on there. What proof do you have? We can find documentation of things being shipped, locked up, saying, hey, it was on this. That information is accessible. The information of saying it was never on, I know for a fact it was never on. Were you there? Or are you just typing away? It's a possibility it was never there. Either way, I believe this will be used in a way for an event here on American soil. That's what I believe. So anyway, guys, I want to wrap this up, get this new bit of information out for you, because I've been looking at this thing. I've been digging. I can't find anything. It's as if, all right, we released information that it was missing or stolen or leaked out everywhere, and that's enough. That gave us cover that something happened, but I cannot find any information on them actually looking for anything. None. Let you guys figure that one out. Just be careful, be safe, stay prepping. All right. Now, something like this, localized event, that I believe will be used for taking down buildings and stuff like that. Look at Oklahoma City. Yeah. For the comments that it's because farmers can't afford fertilizer, so a bunch of farmers stole it. I don't believe that. But then, hey man, maybe the black market for ammonium nitrate fertilizer is there, and I just don't know. But I just don't see that happening. I think this is for a event. All right, guys. I'll speak to y'all later. Y'all be safe.